you want me to do the intro?
Well, I said sure, why not? And then I thought of all the reasons why not.
Hello, welcome to Check Out This Guy. This is the podcast where we're in the midst of a heated debate about who should intro the show and what the intro should be. If you've already heard an intro, then that means Quattra's being a fucker. A memory. Pronouns they, she, he.
Yo, I'm Izzy. Quatra, please don't be a fucker. My pronouns are whatever. We have a guest.
Hello. I wasn't sure if you were gonna, team me up. Hi, I'm the guest. I'm Patrick. He, him pronouns, and I'm happy to be here. This is my 4th time on the podcast. That sounds right.
Dang, that many?
Probably. Yeah.
I want to say I was here for the Doctor Who episode, for the Interstitial Olympics episode, and for the really good Homestuck Fan Trolls episode that everyone loved.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
You were also here for Con Guys.
You're right. So this is actually my 5th.
This is the 5th.
Oh my god. What are goddamn Patrick been on 4% of episodes? Am I mathing that right? Yeah.
5%. More than 5% technically right now.
Yeah, I don't know what math I was doing. 5 out of 99 is roughly about 5%.
Yeah, I'm just happy that my punch card's almost filled, so really looking forward to that free sandwich.
Yeah. This time you will not inflict too much mental torture on us. I hope.
Sorry, I think there has been a bit of a miscommunication here. You don't get the free sandwich, you listen to us both eat a sandwich.
Oh.
It costs you nothing.
All right. You know how expensive ASMR is these days?
Literally
no clue.
I retract what I said. So, Patrick, we asked you on here to talk to us about your Isoverse, guys.
Yes.
We can finally complete the set.
We can complete the set. With that, we can summon the unstoppable Exodia.
Alternate win cons, baby.
Exactly.
We love them on this podcast.
Alternate win condition. Learn about all the guys.
Mm-hmm.
That's right.
Summon Gritty Nibs.
Oh god.
I don't think that's what the name was, but
yes.
Yeah.
It was. I remember Gritty Nibs.
Good old Gritty Nibs.
Gilly's cousin.
How dare you remind me?
Yeah, so
Oh, Patrick, you weren't there for Gritty. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. So I guess I imagine people are fairly familiar with the Isoverse at this point if they've been listening to the podcast. Should I give any overview, or do one of you want to give a quick?
Yeah, Izzy. I feel like you're probably the most qualified to be the local ISO representative.
It is the universe.
The ISO ambassador, if you will.
It is the universe in which we play Fellowship. We have done 2 campaigns in it. We will do a 3rd, apparently. Dan ran it originally. I ran it the 2nd time, and theoretically, Morg will run it the 3rd time.
Theoretically.
Go back to some of our really early episodes. And
yeah. So what characters are you here to talk about? Introduce your guys.
All right. So primarily, I'm here to talk about the characters of Silica and Arla. Possibly also Dr. Darlene Darling if we have the time.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So I guess I'll start with Silica, because Silica was in the first campaign chronologically.
Mm-hmm.
So Silica was, as I mentioned, my character in the first campaign that friend of the show Dan ran. Silica used the Shattered playbook from Book 4 of Fellowship, which is basically about being a guy made up of a bunch of stuff. be that a bunch of guys in a trench coat, or like in Silica's case, a big guy made out of gem rolls. So Silica was about 5 feet tall, made primarily out of topaz, but had their body kind of full of items like amber, citrine, jasper, gold, and also a lot of just miscellaneous stuff that people would find valuable, especially things that were yellow. Silica was very fond of the color yellow, and in the art that I did with Silica, which I'm still very proud of, there was a number of fun little Easter eggs that I got to put in to their different images.
Yeah.
I will
Silica, kind of a knickknacks guy.
Kind of a knickknacks guy. I do have a link to the Toy House page for Silica, so I'll be able to show. So you'll be able to put that in the link in the show notes, and people will be able to get visuals on these characters.
Appreciated.
Yeah. But yeah, so just like offhand, I know that Silica had like a hint coin from Professor Layton in there. I think the Ice King's crown from Adventure Time. The Sword of the Storms from Shaolin Showdown. And just a lot of...
Man.
Yeah. A lot of...
That's a deep cut.
It is a bit of a deep cut.
I watched that show and I know nothing about it.
It was pretty good, I think.
Mm-hmm.
It's been a long time since I watched it, but I remember enjoying it. Sequel show, not nearly as good. But that's...
There was a sequel show?
There was a sequel show called, I believe, Shaolin Chronicles.
Huh.
Anyway, that's not... Unfortunately, we're not here to talk about Shaolin Showdown, although that also has a character who's yellow, but we don't talk about that.
I remember that.
Yeah. Not great. But yeah, so Silica was, had this big body made out of, like I said, primarily topaz with all this different stuff in it. But their actual self was in this sort of little box-shaped thing with a stem and going out of it that looked kind of like a bacteriophage. And so that was all of the shattered people looked like that, but then built bodies out of rare minerals as their actual physical forms, instead of just being little boxes with, antennas sticking out, because you can't really do much as that. So Silica was not originally part of the first campaign. Silica joined, I think, 2, maybe 3 sessions in.
Yeah.
Something like that.
So, wasn't there for the start at the very start, but was pretty quickly added in.
Yeah, it's wild. It feels like Silica entered a little later to the campaign, but also feels like they were there from the start, just because like those first 3 sessions happened months apart.
Yeah.
Yes, I wasn't there, so I can't say how much did or didn't happen in those first 3 sessions.
Yeah, we also didn't. I don't think we solidified as a group until Silica joined either.
Yeah.
And then we had our trio.
Yeah, Silica was a trio along with Xenu, Var, and Gilly Nibs, who friends of the show should be familiar with. If not, you should go back and listen to episode 3, episode 11, and episode 18. So yeah, Silica, like I said, joined the Fellowship a little later than everyone else, but was very quickly a very solid member of the Fellowship, pun not entirely intended. Like a lot of characters, I had a little bit of trouble figuring out Silica the first couple sessions. I think when I initially envisioned Silica, they were much more of a strong silent type, which is fun, except here's my hot tip. If you're going to play the tabletop role-playing game, don't make a strong and silent type character.
Make a silly type. That always works.
You don't even necessarily have to make a silly type, but just if you make the strong silent type character who's, in the background nodding and, supporting everyone else, it means you don't get to talk much. And especially in a small group, that's a problem.
Yeah, turns out participating in games is the best way to enjoy them.
Huge if true. Huge if true. So I'm trying to think. What was the first? I'm remembering the very first thing I remember Silica doing is because we had met at a border crossing checkpoint where there was some wanted posters up for the Fellowship, which did not include Silica at that point. And Silica detached their hand and had it just crawl over and rip down the posters. Which I think was a fun way to introduce Silica, both as someone who is very protective and also just as someone who can, detach their body parts, which is a fun thing to do. Silica had a lot of fun, mechanical abilities as far as being able to add on extra parts to themselves, being able to take parts off of themselves, like their hand or their tail, just being very strong and very resilient. And also having a really fun final form that I'll get to later, because that was a really good time.
We love a final form.
This even was my final form. But yeah, so Silica, like I said, kind of started a little bit of a strong silent type, and I think kind of stayed that to a lesser extent, but was much more of a supportive, hey, if you want to get to my friends, you have to go through me a lot of the time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, which was very fitting for him, as they did sort of fulfill the tank role of the party.
Yeah. In a party where all three characters took tank moves.
It's kind of great, yeah. I know that just kind of looking over my notes, we had Tenacious Spinball was one of the first things that we did as a fellowship, which was another really good time and really good at helping the fellowship kind of get in sync with each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Crazy that you're just allowed to make up a sport in fellowship.
Really
oh boy, yeah, we sure did.
We sure did invent Tenacious Spinball. Which, for the unfamiliar, is kind of like basketball, except you're on a pinball table and the ball is made out of metal.
Yes, and there is a water pit under the basket.
Yeah, and you get points for doing sick tricks.
Yes.
More sports should have water hazards, is what we're saying.
Yeah, we love water sports.
I don't know if I would go that far.
What? You never been water skiing? It's a good time. Once you can actually do it. If you haven't been water skiing before, it's pretty difficult to actually get going, and you're gonna fall on your face a lot.
This is sometimes a safe for work podcast, and that means we don't encourage dangerous sports like water skiing.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, if you're going water skiing, make sure to wear a life preserver, a life jacket. That's my safety tip for the day.
Water sports have been redeemed. Proceed.
Yes. So Silica used this kind of leads into one of Silica's big defining characteristics throughout the adventure, which is that Silica used all the winnings from this Tenacious Spinball tournament to just buy a whole ton of quartz. And send that back to the Isolith mine, which is where Silica came from. Because the whole reason Silica was out here and joined as part of the fellowship was not to stop the Overlord directly. But as previously mentioned, Silica's people all built their bodies out of different gems and minerals. And the Otherworldly Company, the organization that was led by the Overlord, had been mining out a lot of the Minersha's territory. Minersha is another term I used for the Shattered. Point is, they were quickly running out of material to build bodies out of, and so a lot of the bodies they had were much smaller than they needed to be, or much weaker than they needed to be, and so Silica was tasked with just going around and trying to get as much as possible to send back to the mines so that people could actually have bodies, which, is pretty important.
Kind of important.
You need a body to touch boob.
You're so goddamn right.
I don't think that Shattered have boob.
This is a reference to Serial Experiments Lane.
I see.
Definitely
or more
definitely
specifically,
a real thing. Definitely a real thing that Alice said, and not just something I made up.
Yeah, it's also a reference to our other show.
And going back further than that, it's a reference to We Rate Queerbait, but I digress.
You are good at doing that. That is a compliment.
Thank you. I got the don't know what the fuck I'm talking about energy today.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
What the fuck were we talking about?
We were talking
Silica.
about minerals, silica. Which also does lead into my very funny joke about silica, which is that silica is based on silica, which is in the oxidized form of silicon and is found in quartz and other minerals. I don't think I ever mentioned that in campaign, but that is true. It also is led to one of the biggest problems with silica, which is me going back and forth on if their name was spelled with one L, like the mineral, or like the actual compound, or with two L's. And I'm pretty sure that my notes go back and forth on that basically every time.
Yeah.
Maybe there's some just like regional differences in the spelling. It's fine.
I don't think that works like that, but okay.
Yeah, no, like sometimes people spell color with a U. Sometimes people spell silica with two L's.
Yeah, I just think, if I went over to Ireland, they wouldn't spell Patrick differently.
Wouldn't they?
No, they wouldn't. Source, I was born in Ireland, so... Maybe it's the other way around, actually. Maybe it is spelled the Irish way, and I've just never encountered another Patrick in the U.S. Maybe it's spelled differently.
Who could say?
Perhaps.
Who could say? Point is...
If you go to Japan, it'll be spelled in katakana.
That's a good point. Point is, Silica spent a lot of time trying to get minerals of different rarities, and also worked closely with a man by the name of Dr. Phineas Photon, who was a employee of the otherworldly company that the Fellowship faced. And I'm trying to remember exactly how we got him on our side. I think we basically just said, hey, you want to do science with us instead of science with them?
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah, this guy just wanted to do science.
He freaking loves science.
I think
said that.
I think Gilly must have made some sort of appeal to his better nature, but that was 5 years ago. I don't know.
I mean, he had been hanging out with Corncob, so I don't blame him for wanting different friends.
Fair enough.
Corncob is based. You don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah. But yeah, so Silica worked with Dr. Photon to basically make a photocopier for minerals called the Re-Rockifier. And so that was another...
Speaking of regional differences, am I remembering right that we kept going back and forth on whether that guy was called Photon or Proton?
Yes.
I thought it was Photon.
I'm pretty sure he was introduced as Photon, and in my notes it's always Photon, but I'm pretty sure that on occasion he was referred to as Dr. Phineas Proton.
Perhaps.
I'm certain of it.
Yes. So
Consistency, what's that?
I just can't remember if that was a case of us going back and forth on the name or us forgetting the name and saying something that was close enough.
Probably the latter.
Yeah, agreed.
But yeah, so a lot of Silica's time was spent either getting these minerals or working with Dr. Phineas Photon or getting stuff for Dr. Phineas Photon to build these machines to make more minerals. This does lead to another thing. It worked out really well that I think had been set up during the first couple sessions that I wasn't there, but worked out really well with Silica's whole deal, which was the elemental stones.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Because I believe was it just the one elemental stone that was made in the first session, or was it established early on that there were multiple?
I think it was
I
just
don't-
the first.
Yeah,
Just wood at first.
Yeah, I remember we had a player who quit after session 2 who had an elemental stone. I think it was just the one at first, and then it developed into a full set later.
Mm-hmm. I think you're right, based on what I remember. But as mentioned, that worked really well for Silica, and that having a set of elemental stones kind of worked well as far as the lore of developing how the Minersh first were created and kind of how they related to the elemental stones. And also having an elemental stone of Earth as a goal of something that Silica wanted to be able to find and use was just another really good motivating factor. So
yeah, am I right that there was a Earth stone and also a rock stone?
Correct.
Yes.
Yeah.
Correct. We really had to go full Pokemon with it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Except we only had 7 or 8 stones, so no poison type stone, unfortunately, or bug type stone.
No bug stone.
No bug stone. Elemental stone of bug. But yeah, so here it is. Light, wood, ice, water, ground, rock, and fire were the elemental stones.
Okay, so yeah, we do have ground and earth.
Yes.
Confirmed.
Mm-hmm.
And I specifically have noted that when Silica first...
Ground and rock.
Yeah. When Silica first saw the rock stone, it was with a mixture of awe, horror, and confusion. And just, imagine that you found an elemental stone of flesh. It'd be a weird experience.
Mm-hmm.
A little spooky.
Seeing flesh is something that Silica caused later.
Oh, I remember.
Yeah, you're not wrong. Because one of the things that Silica did develop later on was the powers of alchemy, and specifically the ability to shift materials, which I think the first time that it was used was when there was a giant statue attacking us, and Silica changed it from a giant statue of stone to a giant statue of flesh.
Yes.
Because, fun tip, safety tip number 2, it's easier to stab flesh than it is to stab stone, so keep that in mind if you're using a knife.
Will do. That's another thing that we encourage on this podcast, stabbing flesh with a knife.
No.
I more meant it if you were doing cooking or something. Just, safety.
That's also what I meant.
Okay. Oh, you meant flesh
Matney.
like chicken breast or something like that.
No, I'm vegan, dog.
Okay.
I'm talking about murder.
I guess there's no contradiction there, really. I would think that there is, but I guess, yeah, there's nothing solid there.
People aren't animals.
People aren't animals is certainly a thing you can say.
Yeah, that's right. I just said it.
But yeah, so speaking of that whole statue affair, that is also when Silica first used their final form, which involved them breaking into a million pieces and then reforming as a bunch of rings rotating around the central box that was Silica's body. Imagine, the type of ring angels that people talk about when they're talking about biblically accurate angels. Looked kind of like that.
Yeah. Fewer wings and eyes, but same concept.
Yeah, same concept. Was also something that I had a lot of fun doing art of, because I actually made that one a GIF to have the rotating. It only had I think 4 frames, something like that. But it was enough that it did give it that sense of motion.
Yeah.
And especially because Silica was the first character I had done in quite some time where I really tried to make art of them, and really kind of got me back into doing some digital drawing. And, it's not anything excellent, but it's stuff that I'm happy with, and that's kind of the whole point.
We always support drawing ROCs here on this podcast. That one's a real thing and not a joke like I've been making.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, Silica's final form was just a lot of fun to both create and draw and play around with, as far as that really let Silica do the alchemy stuff and just transform stone to flesh, flesh to stone, sticks to snakes.
Yep.
I was hoping for a minute. Sticks
No,
to snakes is a...
I know what you were doing. I was just ignoring it.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough.
Not giving you the pleasure.
The other big thing I can think of with Silica was that there was a huge lab we went to at one point that was developed, that was experimenting with void magic and also experimenting with other Shattered. It was not good.
No.
Frankenstein ass Shattered in there. And I'm pretty sure that was the only instance in the entire campaign of someone straight up doing a murder. Straight up killing someone is Silica, helped all the Shattered break out, tried to help, get everyone out of there, stop all of the experiments and destroy the facility. And in addition to that, Silica did find the head of the research and just emoliated them. Just dragonfire. Where there was once a person, there is now ash. And that was in front of everyone.
It sure was.
That's another type of transmutation. That's a chemical reaction.
I suppose you're right. But that was fun because, as mentioned, it was the only straight up death in that campaign, I'm pretty sure.
I think so, yeah.
Which is fun on its own. And then also doing that in front of the rest of the party led to some fun drama.
Good times.
Yep.
Because just destroying someone in front of a group, it's not good. It's not good, and this is definitely not something that's going to come up with Silica specifically again at a point in the future.
Sometimes you do just have to kill someone.
Sometimes killing people is correct.
And sometimes you try to make sure your friend does not kill someone.
We're just full of advice on our podcast. Check out this guy today.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'm gonna have more safety advice in the future.
Yeah.
So keep an ear out for that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But yeah, so then as far as I feel like that was most of the really big Silica moments in the campaign. There was obviously the final big fight with Jericho, which was who was the Overlord, which was a lot of fun, but I don't think it had any specific big Silica character moments, unless there's one either of you can think of.
Silica,
except the very end.
Yeah, I know what Silica did in that fight, because we really fucked that man up.
Yeah. Which is at the very end of the fight, Silica did some alchemy and replaced, I think it was whatever Jericho had that made his magic.
And his connection to Void.
Yes. And replaced it with Dragonfire, which would always burn forever. And thankfully, Xenu had already taken away the ability for Jericho to feel anything.
Yeah.
Because otherwise that would be a super torture. Instead of just, hey, I'm replacing your ability to do magic with this pain. And if you ever get back your ability to feel, it's going to suck for you a whole lot.
Mm-hmm.
Really went to town on the guy.
Really went to town.
But before we move on, I do want to say I appreciated the manner in which you had Silica speak.
Yeah, I tried to have Silica, and it's been a while, but I believe Silica kind of spoke in short sentences, kind of with some pause.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Is that
Yeah.
correct?
It always seemed kind of strained.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Which makes sense, partially because Silica doesn't have a mouth, and also because Silica definitely is partially, I feel like most OCs are at some part inspired by the people who create them and some aspect of them. And Silica was definitely influenced by my neurodivergence. Even before the actual campaign started, I did have noted that Silica was one of the very few Shattered who had left the Shattered homeland. Most of them live underground and are content to do that their whole life, and Silica just did not feel accepted or wanted, felt very closed in, and it was just not a good time.
Yeah.
Which also leads into the epilogue for that campaign, which Silica did get all of the different materials. Dr. Photon had created that machine to create duplicates. Silica basically made a library of all of, every material that they could think of, so that there would always be a supply for the other Shattered to use. But it also led to me writing a short story about Silica that I really enjoyed. I think this was also it wasn't the first campaign that I did this for, but it was one of the campaigns that I did write some little short stories for. And this one that I am thinking of was specifically an epilogue story. I think it was called How Many Days? And what it was, I have it. It was written on April 13th, 2022. That's a fun coincidence. And basically it was Silica saying, okay, it's been 12 days since the defeat of Jericho. I'm doing this. There are still many things Silica needed to do. And continuing on, all of the different things that Silica did and how many days after Jericho had been defeated that they did this, until they realized that they had done everything they needed to do. And they weren't sure what to do with that. Because Silica, I think, was also someone who was very... They needed a purpose. And Silica's purpose for so long had been to help the Shattered Homeland and get all these materials and get all that fixed up. And so then having nothing, completed that, kind of led to a spot of, okay, but what do I do with myself? Which I think is also something that I don't want to say struggle with, because I feel like I have. I was about to say because I feel like I haven't accomplished anything, but that's not right.
Fucked up when a task-oriented guy runs out of task.
Yeah,
True.
it's very true. But then Silica did eventually start not an orphanage, but a home for other neurodivergent Shattered on the surface. I realized when I was writing up all my notes for this that this is the first character chronologically, but the second character I have that retired, that quote unquote retired and ran an orphanage, which is, not super weird, but it did happen twice, which is more than one would expect.
It did happen twice.
Yeah.
I'm sure that doesn't say anything about me as a person and my desire to help people and to provide support for young people like me. It's probably
Coming
not.
Coming soon, Patrick's Orphanage.
Yeah.
First quarter 2027.
Do you know how much money you need to make an orphanage?
No.
Okay. Oh, well, okay, then never mind. That was a genuine question, not like a rhetorical. Actually, can I give my quick beef with orphanages?
Okay.
So, Annie, classic musical Annie. We all love Annie, correct?
I'm not too familiar, actually.
Ask me again tomorrow.
Okay. Tomorrow?
Yeah, tomorrow.
Okay, there's always tomorrow. But it is...
Yeah, it's always a day away.
Yes, thank you. No, so in the original, in the song It's a Hard Knock Life, there's the lyric, no one cares for you a smidge when you're in an orphanage. And in the 2014 film, they changed it to no one cares for you a bit when you're a foster kid, which is one of just a much worse rhyme, I think. Like just lyrically much worse.
Yeah, it doesn't flow.
And also just made me realize, like, yeah, you don't really hear about orphanages anymore.
Yeah, what's the deal?
You mostly hear about the foster system, which is complex. I don't know enough about the foster system to give a nuanced description of the problems and benefits of it, but
yeah, me neither. I mean, at the very least, I think we can reasonably assume that it's a lot less Dickensian.
You would hope.
It is some level less Dickensian.
But yeah, that's kind of the brief overview of Silica. And any questions?
I don't have any questions for me because I was there when the character was being played.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of any questions that would benefit our audience. Let's see. Yeah, I guess what were like some of the inspirations for creating just like such sort of alien, inorganic character?
So thank you for the reminder on that, because one, I just really like rocks and minerals. I think they're neat. And two, which relates to that, is that shortly after the campaign started, I was visiting New York City, and one of the museums there has a hall of minerals, which I took, I think, like 90-something pictures in.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Mostly because minerals are cool. And also as...
I remember you showing us.
Yeah. Also just as reference for Silica. But it was a really... If you ever have a chance to check out the Hall of Minerals, which I believe is in the New York Museum... the American Museum of Natural History in New York. It's a good time. I'd recommend it.
Hell yeah.
Nice.
But yeah, so I think that part of Silica's inspiration was just that idea of like, hey, I really like gems and minerals and collecting things. Let's kind of put that all together in a character. And also I had just gotten, I think the last game I had played, last couple games all had more traditional human-like characters. And I like trying to get weird with it in Fellowship because you're allowed to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that plus kind of, like I said, the inspiration of Silica kind of taking on some of my social anxieties and neurodivergence kind of funneled all that together into a very alien creature who doesn't fully connect with the world around them. You know, doesn't fully vibe with it, and is
hell yeah,
it is different.
For sure. We love monstery characters as metaphor for what's the word I'm looking for?
For the self, for our own issues,
for I guess
for disability.
Not exactly the term I'm looking for, but like disability, social exclusion, like otherness. Maybe it's otherness. Maybe that's what I was looking for.
Mm-hmm. I think otherness is a good word for it. And that does lead us into my other Fellowship character to talk about today, who is also a yellow person who is likes collecting a certain thing and is based on some of my own mental hang-ups. But this one, instead of being an earth person, is a wind person, so...
Mm-hmm.
Which is something that I was not intentional, but at one point I did realize, oh yeah, in Fellowship I played like a very earth-centered being and now a very wind-centered being. Huh. And that person is Arla.
I know her.
Yeah.
Arla, you know her. So Arla used the elf playbook from Fellowship and was an elfin who was a series of bird-like humanoids whose limbless bodies are supported by a constant whirlwind around them. So kind of imagine like a torso, bird head, surrounded by just a constant whirlwind. Something like almost like how the Tasmanian devil looks when he spins. Like that sort of level of cyclone. And also having two disconnected hands, kind of Rayman style.
Yeah.
And that
no
part
feet.
And no feet. And no clothes except hats. Yes.
Yeah.
And a lot of hats.
Because I realized as I was developing the elfin, like, hey, they don't really have like they have a torso, but it's pretty covered up by their wings. They have hands, but they're disconnected. What would a society like this do for fashion? Hats. It's hats. And so Arla was a big fan of hats and had so many different hats over the course of the campaign. At one point, Arla did just get a item for her inventory, which was just that she could basically change her hat whenever.
Yeah.
We sure do love putting our guys in little outfits.
We really do. And really, what littler outfit is there than just a hat?
You're not wrong.
But yeah, Arla was yellow and based kind of on like a canary. All of the different elfin were based on different birds. There was another one who came up a lot named Dawn, who was based on more of a raven, who's one of Arla's close friends. And the other big thing about the elfin was that they were I wouldn't say a very religious society, because that's not quite accurate, but they did have a lot of belief in something called the voice of the forest, which was very important to Arla's whole arc, which I really enjoyed Arla's arc because it was a lot of ups and downs.
Mm-hmm.
It was a lot of her accepting something or not accepting something and dealing with the consequences and the fallout of that.
Mm-hmm.
Because early on in the campaign, Arla was chosen by the voice of the forest to be the forest emissary, which basically meant giving up her life, her uniqueness, her personhood, to serve as the mouth and the hands of the voice of the forest. The collective will of the planet and the elfin and the actual forest that they all lived in. And Arla understandably did not want to do this and had a lot of internal struggle because I don't want to do this. I don't want to give up, my own sense of self, my whole being, and everything that I want to do for this. But also this is so, so important. Imagine if one day someone approached you and like, hey, you got to be the new pope.
I would say, fuck off. I don't want to associate with the Catholic Church.
Understandable. But imagine that like that happened and you were Catholic or even just, slightly Catholic. Sorry, imagine for a moment that you're Catholic.
Don't like that.
Ooh, I'm doing the little crossy right now. Father, Son, Holy Spirit.
Good job. Can you say the Our Father?
Our Father.
I meant like the prayer.
I'm not sure that I could.
I definitely could, despite the fact that I have not been to church in at least upwards of 10 years now.
Happy to hear that for you.
Entirely true. I'm sure that I was there for funerals and stuff, but I do still know the Our Father and the Hail Mary offhand. I could probably do the entire rosary if you made me, but don't do that. Don't do that. Thank you. But yeah, so Arla, as mentioned, realizes this is a very important duty she has been given and a destiny that has been forced upon her. to the point that she had been selected to take place in the Forest Ballad, which short version is like the Olympics and one of her life goals to participate in. And she just left partway through because the forest needed her. All of her friends were pretty worried about her at this point. But specifically, what was a lot of fun from this is, so, like I said, Arla leaves the Forest Ballad to help the forest. At this point, a giant void beast attacked the Forest Ballad, which was related to the greater campaign, and this caused Arla to basically have a panic attack as the forest was being actively destroyed, and she pushed herself so hard that she, trying to stop all this, that she fell unconscious, which led to her first encounter with the Verdant Dreamer, who is a great dragon who we're going to get into in a moment. But point is, so after that, the planet kind of gets swallowed by the void, which was a whole thing. But it did mean that Arla had been completely cut off from the forest because, it was in the void, which caused problems. Because Arla had basically, she had been given this destiny, this duty. She didn't want to do it. She hesitantly accepted it. And then the worst possible thing happened.
Yeah, entire planet going away is bad news.
Yeah. Being told hey, you are the guardian of this place. You need to act on its behalf and make sure it is safe. And then before you're even fully in the role, the entire planet being destroyed is going to cause some issues.
First day on the job, and everything has already gone completely off the rails.
Exactly. But specifically, first day on the job that you were kind of fighting against and didn't want to do.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So Arla had a lot of guilt of, oh no, this horrible, horrible thing happened that I was supposed to stop. If I had just been gracious and, been like, yeah, I will be the forest emissary. I will do this, even though, because, I'm willing to sacrifice this for the greater good, then everything would have gone fine. But she didn't do that, and so everything went to shit. It's kind of her, internal thoughts on the whole matter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which then did lead to for the next kind of good bit of the campaign, Arla being very sad and very depressed and having a bit of PTSD.
Yeah. Oh, and immediately got
separated
separated from everyone else also.
Yes. Also immediately got separated from everyone else, except for Veritas, who is someone who became very important to Arla. So I think this is a good moment as any to jump backwards, as we, hit kind of the low point of Arla's arc, to jump more into her character. Arla, I had in my notes as originally kind of a chill surfer girl, which didn't really fully translate into how she actually played, but I think there was still a bit of that in her. But she was very excitable and very hyper, and she kind of would talk like this about a lot of different things, and she would be just very happy, and she had a lot of strong belief in things, and really just wanted to be there and help people and have a good time.
Yeah.
So because
definitely kind of the bubbly one of the party.
Absolutely, no question there. Except Vortex, maybe.
Literal bubbles in her case.
Exactly. Thank you.
She was a mean fucker.
Yeah, but did have literal bubbles, so But because of all that, and I think I kind of even demonstrated that a little bit with that little tangent, that little ramble that Arla went on, is that she could be very unfocused and seem very kind of flighty, and also come across as kind of dumb sometimes.
Yeah, you mentioned she's elementally air-aligned, just literally the airhead.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. But she's not dumb, is the thing. She just has a strong belief in a lot of things that are kind of silly. One of the first ones being that how the campaign all kind of started off was with what Arla thought was a meteor that had fallen and turned out to actually be a spaceship. But she really wanted to rush towards it to make a wish on it, because whoever is the first person to touch the meteor would get their wish granted. And even when she had gotten there and saw that it was a crashed spaceship and clearly not a meteor, she was still very adamant of like, okay, but whoever touches this first does get a wish. And that even came up a second time later in the campaign with another meteor at one point.
Yeah.
The other really good example of her belief is Veritas, who I briefly mentioned earlier. Veritas was a simple AI that was controlling a security system that the Fellowship had run into at one point.
Mm-hmm.
And when Arla first encountered it, it kind of reacted as like a scared animal. Clearly had some level of, at least to Arla, had some level of emotion. Might have in reality just been a pre-programmed response of, hey, if shit sucks, hit the bricks. But Arla was very insistent from that point onward of treating Veritas like a person. Even though Veritas couldn't really speak or have individual thoughts, really, Arla was very insistent the whole time that Veritas was like an equal member of the Fellowship and a full person.
Gosh, so many things happened in that campaign. I'm just like, yeah, that was part of it too.
Yeah,
that was part of it.
Yeah. Yeah. You had Arla meet what was basically a Vespian Roomba, and it's like, no, this is a person.
Mm-hmm.
I loved that.
It was really good. And like, is that partially her being dumb? Sure. But that is also partially her like recognizing this as a creature of some sort, and partially just wanting to, show it kindness, partially projecting. And also, most importantly, when the whole party got split up after the whole planet got taken over by Void, Veritas was the only one with Arla. They were Arla was paired up with Veritas during that big split, which meant Veritas was basically the only person Arla had to talk to for a while. And so definitely kind of became an emotional crutch for Arla, which really just strengthened that belief of like, no, this is a person.
Emotional support Roomba.
Exactly. And then the one other note I had written down about Arla's insistence on belief and being seeming kind of dumb relates to a wizard by the name of Jericho, who was featured in the last campaign. But when we reached Jericho, Arla was very insistent on challenging him to a wizard duel because she had magic as well. And if I'm remembering right, Jericho was very dismissive of this.
That sounds right.
I'm pretty sure he was like, that's not a real thing. That's not no. There's no such thing as a.
Yeah.
There's not, wizard duels aren't a real thing, and if they were, they would. It's not like you fight someone in a wizard duel and they have to do what you say. I don't.
Point of order, just for the audience. It was not actually Jericho. It was a simulation. Like, it was a duplicate.
Mm-hmm.
But still.
Yeah. Point is, Arla kept insisting on a wizard duel. And that was definitely partially her believing in wizard duels, but also partially just her trying to get under this other guy's skin at this point of, hey, this guy clearly doesn't believe in wizard duels. I'm just going to keep pestering him about it to keep him annoyed so that he hopefully will be less focused on all the destroying us stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Which worked, if I remember correctly, as Arla did eventually he did eventually accept Arla's request for a wizard duel. And Arla said, "Okay, the terms of the wizard duel are whoever has more friends wins."
Yeah. I gotta admit that I'm just like, wow, a lot of stuff happened in ISO 2, and I feel like I remember a lot less of it than ISO 1. Also, I was very depressed at the time, so, it happens.
Yeah.
It was also a lot longer.
It was a lot longer.
Yep.
But yeah, so...
You could say it was 2 campaigns stapled together.
You could say that.
You could say that.
Speaking of things that happened in that campaign, do you happen to remember a man by the name of Nimbus Conflict?
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I do.
Nimbus Conflict was an NPC we met pretty early on, who became a reoccurring character, and did not like Arla, I think is fair to say.
I wouldn't say Nimbus Conflict disliked Arla.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I would say that it was his personality to give the appearance he didn't like Arla.
Mm-hmm. That's a good point. But I bring Nimbus Conflict up because at one point, Arla and Nimbus Conflict did finally have a really good conversation, where Nimbus Conflict talked about Morselheim, the great catastrophe where a town was destroyed and it was kind of his fault.
Mm-hmm.
And Arla had a similar experience, except with the planet.
Well, no, it was Planet also there.
Oh, it was also Planet? Okay.
Yeah.
Good to know. But yeah, so there was a really good conversation that the two of them got to have about, like, hey, yeah, it sucks when the whole planet is destroyed and you feel you're responsible, but you're not fully responsible, and it's gonna hurt for a long time. It's never gonna not hurt, but it gets easier to deal with over time. The other things I wanted to talk about, just because I realized we are at about an hour.
Yeah. Pizza Party, definitely.
Yes, Pizza Party I definitely want to get to. So I guess I'll skip around for a little bit. Arla finally reaches self-actualization at one point, which was another very fun moment of, all this stuff has happened. She was really depressed. She was having a really bad time. Bad things kept happening. She was kind of being pulled in multiple directions of, the Voice of the Forest wanted her to do this stuff. The Verdant Dreamer, who was a great dragon who was kind of the guardian of her planet, wanted her to do things. She got pulled in, a lot of different directions by a lot of different people, all while dealing with a lot of tough stuff. And at some point realized, like, hey, I'm just going to do what I want to do, and I don't need to follow the directions of everyone else. And more importantly, like, yeah, there's bad things happening all the time, but there's important things that I can help out with. And so I can't just, keep beating myself up about the mistakes that I've made and all the things, all these expectations, when I can do something in this moment to help people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Learned a lesson.
A lesson. Which is also when she finally attained the title of the Defiant Dreamer. I don't think we have time to get into the Dreamers fully, unfortunately.
There's a lot of them.
There's a lot of them.
Yeah. You and Morg went on a roll with the Dragons and Dreamers and everything.
Yes.
Which was pretty fun.
Yeah, the very short version is the first campaign had a character named the Argent Dreamer, I believe.
Yep.
Who was a dragon who kept the void at bay from that planet. When I was working on Arla's stuff, I made an organization called the Dreamers Guild, where I was like, hey, wait a second, those both have Dreamer in the name. And then developed the Verdant Dreamer, who was the guardian of this other planet, and this whole list of different dreamers who were all great dragons who did stuff in their sleep. And there were a couple of them that were important to the campaign, specifically the Verdant Dreamer and the Recombinant Dreamer, who was a big monster that was created at one point. We don't have time to get into that.
Yeah.
But Arla did eventually.
Well, we know what your sixth guest spot eventually can be.
Yeah, exactly.
Too many dreamers.
Too many dreamers. But yeah, Arla had become, the Dragon's champion at that point, and she kind of gave herself the title of the Defiant Dreamer of, I don't have to listen to what everyone else says. I'm going to do my own thing. But I think all that kind of leads up to the pizza party, which I know everyone was excited to hear about.
Yeah.
The pizza party.
I could go for some pizza.
Same.
Pizza pasta put in the box. Thing I didn't mention earlier is that when the planet was destroyed, it was destroyed by the Demon Lord, who looked exactly like Gilly Nibs from the first campaign. At one point during the campaign, Arla and the rest of this fellowship met the fellowship of the previous campaign at a dinner. And Arla, upon, entering the room, seeing what looked exactly like the person who had destroyed her entire planet and kind of ruined her life, immediately, no hesitation, just ran at them full force, fully preparing to kill them.
Yep. Instant violence.
Instant violence at the drop of a hat. To the point where Arla had not realized that a bunch of children were also at the table, specifically shattered children, and that were having a pizza party. So, which is why it's referred to as the pizza party incident. But yeah, Arla on site was ready to destroy this person who was not the person who destroyed her planet, but looked the exact same. And led to a lot of drama within the fellowship about trying to, stop her and being like, hey, this isn't who you think it is. Please don't kill this random person, especially don't kill this random person in front of a bunch of children.
Yeah, that's not the really kind of example of behavior you want to be setting.
Correct. But it did lead to one of my favorite things from either campaign, which was Silica stepping in to protect Gilly. And I wrote up a entire little short story about Arla and Silica fighting in the background, because during the actual session, I didn't want to be like, hey, everyone, I'm just going to take some time to narrate my two characters fighting each other.
Yeah.
That felt like it would be a little rude. So instead, I just wrote up a whole little short story about the two of them fighting through this event. And eventually the fighting stopping, but Silica still being rightfully upset at Arla of, hey, you just tried to kill someone in front of all these children. And also, Silica never forgiving Arla.
Damn. Harsh.
Well,
but maybe not really.
Yeah. Arla did at one point go and apologize, and from my notes I have basically that Silica was like, I accept your apology, but I do not forgive you.
Damn.
Yeah.
So it's fun to have two characters who do not like each other at all. They can't stand each other.
Sometimes there's got to be conflict.
Sometimes there's got to be conflict, and luckily I don't think the two of them interacted again throughout the entire story. But they did leave on a sour note.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of the brief overview of Arla. Like I said, I had a lot of fun with her arc of her accepting her destiny, kind of, and then things immediately going to shit when she felt, and her feeling that she didn't accept her destiny enough, and that if she had been, if she had just done what she was told, things would have been better, and dealing with all of that, which definitely isn't inspired by my own experiences with feeling the need to defer to others and feeling like if I had done things differently, then catastrophe could have been avoided.
Maybe if you hadn't slapped away the hand of fate, things wouldn't have gone completely fucking sideways.
Maybe. Who could say?
I can.
Also, you can?
I can. They would have absolutely gone probably even worse sideways.
Yeah, probably. But yeah, also because I didn't mention it, Arla and Treble were best friends. I believe Treble was in a previous episode.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
Treble had feelings for Arla. Arla did not have romantic feelings for Treble. That led to some fun drama as well.
Damn.
But it would feel wrong if we went this entire episode and I didn't even say Treble's name. That feels like it would be a little fucked up.
I was going to bring that up before we ended.
Yeah, so, there's a lot more to Arla, but that's kind of her broad arc and some of like the big important things. Do either of you have other stuff you want to bring up about Arla or Silica or any questions?
Got anything, Izzy?
No, I remember doing the terrible thing of putting Arla in a hard vacuum.
Yeah, that was
a
bad time for her.
Yeah, yeah. Both the best and worst person for it to happen to.
Yeah, also shortly after she had lost her hat, which was also terrible.
Yeah.
Since she basically felt naked.
Yeah, I, without thinking, did have a puzzle where the solution was effectively to steal a hat and take it outside.
Yep.
And did not consider that Arla was in the party.
That was fun because Arla didn't know that was the solution to the puzzle.
That's what made it so good. Y'all were stuck in that time loop for quite a while before Arla managed to steal the hat. Or it was a crown, but yeah.
Yeah. But that was, another case of Arla being kind of flighty and airheaded. But things working out because sometimes things do work out.
They do.
The one other thing, because the hat thing reminded me of the tree thing, which was that along with the hats, Arla got a bunch of seeds, which she used to grow a huge tree on our big ship, which when the big ship was destroyed, the huge tree was also destroyed. Her home was a forest full of big trees. And at one point on ISO, when she was alone with just Veritas, she found a community of like refugees from Horus, her planet, was asked to help them out for a little bit, and then saw something and just sprinted full force to a big tree to curl up in it and cry.
Man, oh man.
Yeah, that did happen.
Arla went through some things. If I wrote, one or two things about Silica, I wrote a whole bunch of little Arla short stories. I was thinking I should actually put those together and maybe post them on AO3. And if I do, I'll make sure to include the link for that. It's for you to put that in the description.
Sure. Is there anything you want to plug beyond what you've mentioned already?
Is there anything that I want to plug? I guess I'll just mention that you can go to warmshadegames.itch.io, where I have a couple little tabletop things that I have worked on. Most recently was a playbook for Interstitial 2E. I also have a Fellowship 2E playbook, a Monster Hearts playbook, and a solo journaling RPG called To Be a Master that I really need to get back to and do some more work on. You can kind of find my stuff there. You can find me on Blue Sky if you want to, though I don't really do too much posting, but that's shadowsandbag.bluesky.social. And those are kind of the main places. Plus, as mentioned, there will probably be a link to my toy house where you can see Arla and Silica and some of my other characters, and to my AO3, which will have Arla and Silica stories, and also some other stuff.
Heck yeah.
Nice. Does this mean we're schmoving into plugs?
I think
I
so.
think so.
I'm Emery. You can find me as one of the actors on a audio drama podcast called The Disappearances of Lydia Fontaine. A lot of incredible talent on that show. Word has it. Word on the street is things might be moving soon. Maybe there's a little Kickstarter update on that page that you could go check out.
Who could say?
There is. It sounds good.
I haven't listened yet. I'm super nervous.
You're not in it.
I know I'm not.
That's why you're nervous.
She was just like, "Ooh, project finally seeing the light of day."
Yeah, the fun of doing silly voices and then the horror when you realize that this is a thing actual people will eventually hear.
Yeah.
I know these feelings.
I'm like, oh no, people are gonna listen to me acting.
If
Shit.
it helps, I would never listen to you in the future or in the I've never listened to you, and I'm not going to start now.
Oh, well, thank you. I appreciate that.
I assume you just said something, but I do not know what, because again, I'm not.
Right on. This pod, I don't think. Izzy, do you have anything? I know you're also on said audio drama.
Yeah. I just ditto yours when you go first. Hey, we have a Discord in the show notes. Come hang out with us. We do group streams Mondays and Fridays normally, and hey, you can ask us questions, you can show people your guys, you can sign up to be a guest, all sorts of things happen on the Discord.
You can talk about Digimon. My open challenge to anyone who wants to play me in the TCG remains. Just hit me up on Discord.
You too can be bullied by Emery.
Yeah.
It's true.
This podcast is part of the Noisepace.xyz network. Thank you to Matt GameCube. Go check out Noisepace. It's got all sorts of neato shows on it. It's got Pot of Greed. It's about Yu-Gi-Oh!
Are you talking about the world's #1 and only Yu-Gi-Oh podcast, officially sponsored by Kaiba Corp?
That's 100% correct. Can't believe we got the only one here on this here humble network. Yeah, I think that's just about everything. Maybe listen to Drum and Gaze if you're a Digimon freak.
Maybe listen if you're not a Digimon freak also.
That too.
You can learn about the horrors of war and capitalism.
That's so true. Alrighty, I think that's all.
All right. Thanks again for having me.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you for joining us. All right, peace out, losers.
Bye.
Peace out.
Bye.
You know what? Peace out, winners.
Never met one.